Hey, hello, dear sisters. This is Jonita D'souza and very impromptu video once again here. I am tuning in. I was supposed to do this video 2 hours ago, but here I am. It's morning time here, and what is happening is that I decided to just wake up. I was feeling inspired and I wanted to share about a topic about something that's so present. And as soon as I just wrote some points to come and talk to you, what just happened was a snake. A snake arrived in our property. I mean, there was a snake. My mom found a snake near our swimming pool, and she came running and hyperventilating. It was a big one, so there was a whole 2 hours of drama around it of what to do with the snake. She's not moving. It's a she or a he, god knows what, but a really big and scary looking one. And then that on one side, and my husband trying to navigate, like, how can we lift the snake, push it, move it, exit from our house. And the other narrative was about my mom continuing to hyperventilate because she's traumatized with snakes. She has a deep fear of snakes. So that took my 2 hours, and here I am now. So I think I can. I hope I can speak to. So that was a story. What I am here to tell you is right exactly about this. Our stories. Our stories. Really feel into this. We are approaching this time of the year, right? Where our bodies are feeling the conflict. The nature of our feminine is asking us to slow down and like go into relaxation, take a step back. Like our body is automatically wanting this. And on the other hand, the society is pushing us far, like really pushing us far. Like, hey, it's a busy season, gifts, Christmas, holidays, this, that, cooking, arranging meetings, families. It's very triggering. And what happens is stories come up. Yeah. So I want you to notice these stories, and that's why I've named this as the narratives of power, because our stories are narratives of our power, right? And so stories come up like, oh my God, like I can never get this done, so many things to do, it's always me running around, like can I just have a little bit for myself? I've been working on myself so much, healing so much, and I just can't still like figure out the right balance during this time. What's going on? There's this sense of not having done enough, right? And I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not doing better. Maybe I should do something different. I can never make it. What else am I supposed to do? It's just too much. All of this. Is there any relief? So many things that we really put on ourselves as stories, right? Because I do. So let me know if you relate, and if there is any story that is currently playing, and maybe put it in the chat so that I can read that, and then we can work with it, right? And then that's us with us. That's our relationship with ourselves. Then comes the interpersonal things, right? Like relationships where there are people around it. It gets to the next level of triggering, right? Like, oh my God, like why can't you help me with this? Why like why don't you understand? Why are you so angry? And it is so much, so many stories govern our everyday life. And then what I have noticed, particularly for me, one of the major stories that I had to work with was around the concept of receiving. Yeah, like the things that I wanted to do in my life or experience or receive, I had attached certain stories to it. And of course I have had my own healing journey, and I've been working with Kuan Yin to help me build compassion towards some of my stories. Green Tara as well. I had a Tibetan pilgrimage in October, so Green Tara was very present and was helping me to build compassion for some of my stories. And one of the big messages I received was to lighten up about my stories that have caused me hurt. That didn't go well with me. but I am attempting. I am a good teacher and I'm also a good student. So I am attempting to lighten up with my hurt story and see what I can create through it. Now, why is it? Why is it? And especially this time of the year, I want you to look into us as individuals and then people around us, our loved ones. This time of the year is always like, ooh, family. Being hurt emotionally is a fact for many, many people. In fact, being hurt emotionally it's literally human experience, if we have to say. It's part of our human experience. Like we cannot deny it. Yeah. So that was a helicopter in my background. Life in India can be really interesting in the morning, specifically. It's so loud and alive. So being emotionally hurt is literally a part of human existence. Pain is a part of human existence. Emotional pain, I'm talking about specifically, right? Because I don't know any person in this world who does not have this element of emotional pain. So and these emotional pains oftentimes make us feel like the victim of the situation, and which is fair enough because yes, why not? And yes, of course, yes, it is, right? Um, where I am inviting your attention is where I'm inviting your attention is looking into nuances where you are glorifying that fact. Because I have noticed that at times we can take our pain and really create an exotic story of suffering. We do it consciously, we do it unconsciously. And specifically as women, what I've noticed that we do it from this deep rooted desire to be seen, to be loved, to be accepted. So we kind of really like putting ourselves in the position of pity. And um, somehow we have attached our identities to it. What I also see is in the self-help industry is that people are like really dedicated, so dedicated in figuring out all their issues and and going into the issues again and again and again and again without breaking out of them. So that becomes like a vicious cycle. I've seen like when we meet in circles, sometimes women even introduce themselves as like, hey, my name is this and I'm a survivor of domestic abuse. So that became really like your identity. Yeah, meet someone in a social setting, and I was really surprised. I had done it many times too. That this lady, she said that, oh, I almost did not come here because I have really low self-esteem and I don't like to socialize. And I was thinking like, thanks for telling me that. I also don't like to socialize, but I wouldn't put it out there. It is these stories, remember, are yours for you to deal with. It's not a glorification, but I'll get to that. So what we unconsciously do as well, like when we meet in places, like we get to see, we kind of somehow go into this, who carries the heavier load, right? Like who has suffered the most, who is the most busy, who is going through crazy things, better excuse for not who has a better excuse for not being the first one to say sorry. Yeah. So we look into like, oh yeah, but my hurt was more than you, so you should have said sorry. So all of these things are like default unconscious patterns. So we've got to really pick ourselves like where we are going into it. Having said all of that, it is so important to validate our pain, because our pain, emotional pain, is a teacher. I truly believe that all the emotional pain here is part of our spiritual assignment as human being, because they all have a lesson. So when we validate our pain, that can help us discover our strength, our valuable lessons. But when we start to being attached to those pain stories, and then keep it really close, and then keep bringing it all the time when we are meeting in new circumstances and stuff like that, then we cannot recover. Instead, we become emotionally, mentally, spiritually crippled. So a good example is, again, my mother. She took so long to, well, she's still hyperventilating in a way, because she has such deep fear of snakes, right? So now we have our housemaid came in, and she was like, oh my god, and the snake. And so she kept talking about it, and she kept talking to one person, 2%, 3%. She just cannot get over that cycle. And I was like, okay, it is done. The snake is out. We won. Snake is not killed. We are not killed. We are all safe. You are safe. Yeah, but it was a snake, and you know what, how much I'm afraid of a snake. And then it goes on, the story gets pulled. Now it's really good to pull your stories if those stories are adding value to your life in terms of what you really want and desire in your life. If not, you actually step out of your personal power. Yeah, we really step out of our personal power. So we negate ourselves. So this is what exactly I want to say about the fact that be careful what stories have become really dominant in your life, right? What is bothering you? What is the story you've been telling yourself since you woke up? And notice where the beggar energy in it is coming. So those of you who have taken part in the Feminine Empress Activation Temple, we spoke about the beggar energy all the time, and see where this beggar energy is coming from, a needy place of like being attached to your story. Yeah, and if you really look into metaphysical reality of story, your stories, and this may sound like really harsh, your story, you're confusing your reality with your story. That's why it's called story, because stories are facts from your past. In the present, your reality is different. But if you keep bringing facts from the past that are not helping your present reality in the way that is conducive to you, then you are not in your personal power. So so that's when your narrative of power is changed, and that's where the problem comes up, right? Where you start to not trust yourself, where you have doubts about yourself, where you are reliving the fear or the anger or the emotional pain again and again. And scientifically, it has been also proven, right? It becomes this your story can become your worst nightmare. It's because your brain does not distinguish between what happened in the past, right? The fact that happened in the past, and if you're keeping to repeat it in the present moment, what you're experiencing in the present moment. So your brain doesn't recognize the difference. If it just recognizes the emotions that you're going through again and again. So that's where it becomes your nightmare, right? Your stories become your nightmare. And so this is where you will see the concept of rewriting the script. This is something specifically we do with the lover essence inside the Feminine Empress codes, rewriting your script. What we do is we really get to, first we work with our emotional pain, because yes, there is. We get to that. We feel into the lessons, the teachings. We then feel into our desires, and we feel like how these two can work together. And then what is the life that I want to live and create and be and have? And then I begin to create then stories and narratives of power around that. So we do the process called rewriting the script. And here is the thing also that has been proven, and in the field of athletics, for example, the athletes, they know that for them to perform their best, they need to start visualizing themselves like, hitting the target, running as fast, like being in that action, like they are visualizing that, okay, yeah, I'm doing this, and they have been made and trained to do this, so that they, when it comes to doing it, they step into the reality really fast, because the brain does not know. But here is the difference: those athletes don't visualize the gold medal, they don't visualize holding the cup, they don't visualize getting the prize, they visualize themselves in the process, right? Not having the outcome. Because when you visualize yourself in the process, then that there you are living into that feeling zone, right? And then when it comes to doing, you're able to tap into those feelings. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. The rewriting the script is not about imagining the outcome and then going into there, and visualizing the outcome. It's rewriting the script, is being in the feeling, sensation, and living through that and with that. And it's a very beautiful process that has changed my life, and it really helped me to get into my personal power, that in fact, this is a part of me too. Yes, my stories are part of me. Yes, my all my hurt and emotional pain are part of me, but this is also a part of me. So your work then becomes energizing your narrative of power that is conducive to you just a little bit more than the narrative of your story, right? So let me know if this is sitting well with you, because the whole idea is, what is your dominant story, right? And now people think that, with me, for example, people think that, oh, I'm so sought out, and I'm calm, and I don't talk about my pain, and are we not supposed to talk about it? I do, and you do too. I mean, you should do too, when there is this space for it. You talk about your pain when where there is a safe space for it, where you know that you are coming with the whole soul intention of going into your pain, feeling into it, transmuting it, working with it, a place where you can work with it, or a place where you can be inspired but not to complain, right? The Four Agreements book says, be impeccable with your words, because your words are your mantra. Yeah. Your words are your spell. So when people ask you, like, hey, have you been? Oh my God, I've been so busy because you've been doing so much. You're negating all the good things that have also been happening. Like, when are we going to talk about those things in our lives? When are we going to allow ourselves to feel? You see the vibration of all the hurt and pain are so strong as compared to the joy and the love that we feel on a regular basis. Not because they are, but because we are just so used to thinking about the things that are not working and being wrong for by default, right? So making the choice to break out of your narratives of power that are not serving is something that we do inside of the Feminine Empress codes, because this whole archetype of the Feminine Empress is about, your empire is your being. So it's about redesigning you, it's about remembering you according to the life that you want to create. So we specifically go into our stories. We go into stories of shame in the lover essence. We go into the stories of guilt in the mother essence. We go into the stories of fear in the warrior essence, and we work with our stories so that these stories no longer hold charge of our emotions, and we begin to focus, use the lessons to focus on the things that we really want and want to live our lives with. Yeah, and I truly recognize, if stories are running, and you've been holding those stories that are not your narratives of power, not helping you, we do it because we want to feel safe. Well, we have to understand one law of the universe. Life is not meant to be safe and secure. Nature is not safe and secure. The only place where you can have safety and security is inside of your body. And it begins by coming into places where you can hold your pain and feel safe. You can where you learn to expand your somatic wisdom through it. So I teach all of these. The reason I'm sharing is that we are opening doors for Feminine Empress Code's 4 months self-leadership immersion for women like you, like me, for women who are dreamers, who are professionals, who are coaches, for women who want to really, really rewire the script of their life, like use different healing modalities, somatic wisdom to redesign so that we bring our focus back to what is important, why we are here, what do we really want to do in our lives, how we can align into integrity and live from a place that we really feel that we have the power to co-create, and we feel that we are in our personal power. This is the space that I am inviting you to join in, because this is going to be the most beautiful experience that you've had. In a safe space, in the circle of women that will end up becoming your soul sisters. I can guarantee you that. Yeah. So let me know how this sat with you. If something came up, if something was a reminder. I feel like we really need this reminder during this time of the year. And I'd love to see and read your comments. Have a beautiful weekend wherever you are, my dears.